What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel for She-Hulk. I always say She-Hulk. She-Hulk episode 2. The 17-minute, I think it's like 17-minute
It was
episode
so short.
was very short. To me, it was like a giant teaser trailer. I know everyone who saw the episode 1 review, I was by myself. I didn't even have a camera, so I just used pictures and talked over it. But finally, my nerdy home is here. Steph is going to help me get through this series because we're all
Yeah.
gonna need it for whatever they're trying to do. So, like always, I'm gonna go through the episode. Not a very long one, not very much to kind of talk about, but and we'll just see where we are because there are a lot of Easter eggs in this episode though, which kind of annoys me a little bit that they would throw Easter eggs in. Just put it in the show, like make it longer. Don't,
hmm
and I'll explain in a minute. I'll explain some stuff in a minute. So we start off. She's they give us a recap of how she turned into She-Hulk and saved the jurors. And she did that, and they showed news clips, and they use like the cartoons, I guess, like they've been doing the end credit scenes.
It was like
Um,
the drawings, like the in you know what I'm talking about?
yeah, exactly,
The
like they do at
drawings.
the end during the credits. And they're just showing, her holding up bench, and saving the day. And now she's like a celebrity. So like
Yeah.
they're really like flying through these episodes. It's like overnight celebrity, and there she's at. So now that the whole world knows who she is, she's just kind of like taking it in stride, like it's no big deal, which is kind of weird because there's no struggle or anything. It's just, well, I'm a superhero now, no big deal.
hmm
So her friend takes her out to a bar, and while they're at the bar, you can hear people chanting She-Hulk, She-Hulk, and she hates that name.
She
She
hates the
doesn't want to
name.
be called the She-Hulk name, but she's like, "That's who you are." And her friend goes, "Can you change back to the green thing? That's what everybody's here to see." And she does, and her outfit doesn't really rip, but
That's something that bothers me because, like, in the first episode, spandex is her friend,
yeah,
right?
I know.
Right? Spandex is supposed to be her friend. This is like non-stretchy fabric that she's just like it's not really ripping or falling apart much. She's just able to like expand and
Yeah, she does that a few times, unless it's like but like she's in a hoodie, I think. So just one of those things. Anyway, she goes in and she is the She-Hulk.
hmm
And
I like how they made her chick. It's a chick Hulk. Like
oh yeah, yeah.
it's such
Yeah,
a guy thing to call her a chick, right? It's like a chick. It's a chick. And then the news anchor is just like a She Hulk. Oh,
yeah.
She Hulk. Yeah, and she hates the name
And the
She Hulk.
guy's like, "That's it. That's the one."
That's it.
But so she goes in and she starts drinking as She-Hulk, and everything is fine and dandy, I guess. Her one of her paralegals, I guess, is like this short little white guy who's
Yeah.
constantly like being sexist.
Oh, I know.
He's like,
Just
"How'd you
all
get
the
your
time.
superpowers?" He talks to her a little bit, and he's like, "I
hmm
see a hot chick over there. I'm gonna go talk to her." Like,
No, 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 not talk to her. He's gonna go talk to it.
oh
Is
yeah,
your cat? I'm gonna go talk to it. It's like,
that's
are
it.
you kidding me? What is going on? It's like with the first episode where they were like, you might find a he or a she or they. You never know. And now with this one, it's like, I see a hot chick. I'm gonna go talk to it.
The
It's like,
the writing is
stop it. Just
pretty
stop.
bad.
And yeah, her paralegal, whoever her worker is, like from the moment he opened his mouth, he's constantly misogynistic. I think it'll sound like her speech at the very beginning of last episode. I think it'll sound better coming from me. Oh,
Yeah,
and now he's just like, how did you do it? Oh, it's nepotism. I get it. I get it. Nepotism. Give me a break.
exactly. It's just like they're trying to be funny, I think, and it's like it's not really landing well. It's not
No.
landing well. I'm actually starting to laugh at the horrible misogynistic style jokes than the jokes that they really want to fall. Because this scene in particular comes in, and so what happens is the law firm that she's working with, the boss shows up, and he's like, "I got to talk to you seriously. Can you shrink back down?" So she does. She's still at the bar, and the alcohol has kicked in because she's not
hmm
She-Hulk anymore. Now that was in the comic books where she could
Yeah.
drink as She-Hulk, and come back to normal and it would affect her differently. So, but she started acting like really, she was like drunk, and she gets fired because she's a liability now because she could sway the juror, I guess, because she's a celebrity or cause harm or whatever. So he literally like fires her at a bar while she's been drinking, and that's the face she makes. So now her life is like ruined. Yeah, those are so some pretty yeah, she's getting fired at this moment. So you could
Yeah,
see
she's
the
realizing what he's telling her. Like, you're firing me?
But
Yeah.
it's just happening so fast. It's like, wouldn't they have a meeting like at work or something? Like wouldn't they just call her in and be like, "Hey, we got to talk"? But no, they decide to do it at the bar, of all places, and so she's fired. So then she's back, looking for her job, looking for a job, and she never she never gets hired from anywhere.
Right. And
And
she needs a job. She wants a job because, that's her as a character. She rejected Bruce's idea of, like, being a superhero because that's not who she is. She didn't work her whole life to be a superhero and save people. She worked all of her life to get this job that she's incredibly proud of. Like, that's her established character. I'm a strong, independent woman with a high-powered job who's like constantly complaining about her male coworkers, but that's something
and
else.
they were talking to her about like, why don't you join the Avengers? And
Mhm.
she's like, "Do they have good health care? I don't know." Like, they were trying
Yeah.
to make these jokes like, like, "Can they take care of me? Like, what's their salary and stuff?" And it just was like falling flat.
It
Now,
really
correct me if I'm
did.
wrong. Go ahead. What were you saying?
I said it really did, and not only that, but before she even, like, asked, like, "Do they have healthcare?" She's just like, being a superhero is for, like, billionaires and
Oh,
orphans.
yeah,
She's
people that
constantly, like, taking shots at Tony Stark.
Yeah,
I feel
that's
like she
true.
is constantly taking shots at Tony Stark, especially when she was on the island, in Mexico with Bruce. Like, constantly just taking shots at Tony Stark, which
So
is weird, really, really weird.
then, correct me if I'm wrong, because I can only sit through it once, but she goes to have dinner with her family.
Yeah.
And she's not She-Hulk. She's, regular Jen. And the dad shows up and is like, "Don't worry. No one's going to bring up that you're fired." And here come the horrible jokes. So she sits down and, of course, "Hey, I heard you got fired." Like, it's like that stuff that just falls so flat,
Yeah.
And then, like, whoever that other guy was, a cousin, was a little brother, I don't know, was just like, "Hey, I got a promotion at Best Buy and I'm employed." Haha. Like, it's
Uh-huh,
just like,
yeah.
what? That's so dumb. And then they begin to ask her like questions about Hawkeye and the Avengers. Are like, "What does Hawkeye do with his arrows? Does he pick them up after he shoots them?"
It
And
seems
it goes,
dangerous that he would just leave them there,
yeah,
careless.
it's like you're
It's
sitting
like,
there
what?
like, what? And they go through this camera scene where she's just kind of sitting there while everyone's just asking her questions and she doesn't talk, and it just kind of pans in. And then her dad pulls her out and it's like, "Hey, you doing okay?" And she's like, "Yeah, I guess I'm doing okay." And she ends up back at the bar
Well,
where,
before that, like, it was just kind of panning into her as they talk about all these different things. Again, like, let's take shots at Hawkeye because he leaves his arrows just splattered around and it's totally careless. And
yeah,
then I don't know, her brother, her cousin, like, you lost your job, but I got promoted to manager to Best Buy, even though, like, they're portraying this character as an idiot.
yeah,
But
yeah,
he's
yeah.
but he's like a manager to Best Buy, but oh, it's because he's a man, he got the
He's
management
got a terrible
position, right?
haircut. Yeah,
Yeah.
and he's trying to
And then,
brag that
like,
he's something
everything's
special, but it comes out
yeah.
so dumb. You're
And then it's
absolutely
like,
right.
oh, her mom is like, "Oh, I met this guy." And she's, immediately your mind goes to, oh, her mom's hooking her up with somebody. And he's like, "No, he wants to be a superhero. So I gave him your number." Remember? Like, he wants to be a
That's right.
superhero. Like, you don't want to be a superhero, but this man wants to be a superhero. It's just like constantly taking shots at men. And even like with her dad, right? You take her aside and you think that he's going to talk to her and have like this nice little moment. And then, like, she's being shown as, "Oh, I'm fine. I have to, like, remain strong, right? I have to keep this strong face, keep up this image of, like, I'm a strong person. None of my emotions can have to come forward, right? I have to keep them all in check because I'm a woman. And that's what we have to do constantly." And then her dad is like, okay, you're fine. Can you help me with some stuff around the house? Like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, you really aren't being genuine then in
Yeah.
asking how she's feeling. You just want her to like help you with stuff around the house. Okay, cool.
And then that's how she ends up back at the bar.
Yeah.
And the bartender's like, would you like another drink? She's like, can't afford it.
I can't afford it.
So then this
Literally.
other guy comes who's starting a new division that represents, I guess, mutants and monsters and villains and all this stuff. And basically, I don't know how they do this at a bar. It's like so unprofessional. He's like, hey, you
I
want a
know.
job? Like, start Monday. She's like, great, start Monday.
Yeah.
So he meets her downstairs and she starts work and goes, and it's like
Again,
they're
though,
going so
again.
fast. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
just like, you got to be
Again,
She-Hulk if you
taking
want the job. Sorry.
yeah, again, taking shots at men. And you know what I just remembered? Like a really cool scene that happened was when she was like going to all of these uh job interviews, and like you see her like at this really nice law firm, and then the law firms, and then it's like a different law firm that's like slightly worse, and then another one that's like slightly dingy, and then another one that like you can tell it's like a pro bono maybe law firm or something like that. It's just getting worse, so she's becoming desperate. And then you go and she's like looking at like all of these like off-colored jobs, because now she's thinking like, oh, I'm just a circus freak, you know. And then she picks up her phone.
Yeah, I was gonna get to that.
And
She
she
picks
picks
up her phone. Here, I have a picture of it right here.
yeah, she picks up her phone, and this woman who's constantly being, you know, showing us that like, oh, men are always like misogynistic, and I'm treated horribly and always getting catcalled. Her phone is like Captain America's ass.
Yeah,
It's
there it
Captain
is.
America's ass.
There it is right there. Now,
So
I
dumb.
will I will talk about this scene. I'm glad you brought this up. I thought I had passed it. Uh or I didn't come to it yet.
Yeah.
But
Well, no, it was past. Like this was when she was looking for jobs.
you're right.
Yeah.
And so I passed the scene. I'm glad you brought it back. Now, this scene in particular had all the Easter egg drops that I'll go over real quick. Okay. Number one, you can see right here, there's a QR code. If you scan the QR code, you get a free, and I did it, you get a free She-Hulk comic. She-Hulk #1.
Oh wow.
So there's that. Here, I think they'll zoom in a little bit. I think that's on the next photo. They talk about a man. Whoops. They talking about a man going after someone with metal claws. So
Oh, Wolverine.
there's the Wolverine call back there that we'll probably see in the New Mutants or something like that. So all these little things here, and then there's something up here that says, because there's a picture online, I thought I had it, and it also talks about Ant-Man, searching for Ant-Man. So there's something going on with Ant-Man up there as well. So all this was on the computer screen, but honestly, they could have just put it all in the show instead of
Yeah.
like someone. I didn't do it. Someone took the time to take a snapshot of this and put it out on Twitter and just say, well, here's all the cool stuff that are in that scene that you can see. But I'm like, it goes by so fast. It I don't see the point, you know?
Hmm.
It's like, why did they do that? But I guess certain people really just wanted to see. Like right here, it's like man fights with metal claws in bar brawl. So Iron Man 3. So you're talking about sneakers, things like that. So
Why is there a giant? What does it say? Why is there?
why is there a giant statue of a man sticking out of the ocean? I have no idea what that's a reference to. So those are the only ones that I would really know. But the QR code, they were like, yeah, it's a real QR code.
The
So I tried
Eternals.
it, and it was like She-Hulk, a She-Hulk comic that you get on your phone.
It's the Eternals.
Oh, that's the Eternals reference. Oh,
That's,
okay. Well, see, I didn't
that's
see
the
the
Eternals.
Eternals, so that's why I wouldn't know. But all that is just meshed into that quick scene where she has Captain America's booty on her phone. All right, so then we'll jump ahead to where I messed up. Now now she gets a job. She's in the law office and she's walking around. She's a little frustrated because she's like, I only got this job because I'm She-Hulk. And she begins to talk to the camera like Ally
Yeah.
McBeal.
And
And she's just
she
like
looked at
this
you. She
and
looked at
this,
you.
and she's
I
mad. And
know.
she
She
gets to
looked
this
at
one scene where it's nothing but old white guys. And they're all
Oh my
laughing in a meeting. It's
God.
like 15 of them. And she goes, I bet none of them had to deal with it. And I'm like, really, man? Like you just had to throw that in there. Like you just had to.
Like
It's just like,
literally a room full of white men in suits laughing together.
yeah,
As if the show is telling you, the audience, that like they're laughing at women. They're laughing at She-Hulk because, oh, we got here because we're men. Haha, we didn't have to do any of this that you're fighting for. Haha. Like that's what they're trying to say in the show. It's so horrible and on the nose. And extremely just cringe to watch. The show is terrible.
yeah. And it's just, so I'm saying the jokes, they don't, I'm trying to
No,
find something. They just
they
don't
don't land.
fall. Like
They don't
awful.
land. I watch this show and I roll my eyes constantly. I don't laugh at anything. I'm not laughing at anything. I'm just rolling my eyes. And it's just like everything is so on the nose, so right there in your face. It's like it's just not funny. The reason these jokes don't land is because they're coming off as like whiny and complaining.
Yes.
That's why. It's not like a
Yeah.
funny it's not like a funny setting. She's complaining the entire time. So like that's why they don't come off as funny, because she's complaining. So we're supposed to be taking it seriously. Like the tone is completely off. If she was in a funny setting or whatever, and if it, because this is supposed to be a comedy, but all
Right.
of her jokes are just coming off as like I'm complaining about something. So that's why the
That's
jokes don't
true.
land, because she's just complaining.
And so she finally gets her job where she has to go and meet and take on a client, Abomination. If you don't know, Abomination was way in the first Hawk
Yeah.
film with a different actor, Ed Norton.
Ed Norton.
Yeah, so she goes down to meet Abomination in one of those, mutant cells or wherever, and he actually pleads his case really well. I really kind of enjoyed that scene a little bit. He was just like, yeah, I was hired by the government to kill someone. And why am I locked in here? And why is Hulk the hero when I was hired by your government to kill him? And things happen, and I'm not the
Hmm.
bad guy here. I want a second chance. I want to be
Yeah.
reformed. So she's like, huh. I don't know if I can take him on as a client because he tried to kill, Bruce, family member, but she heard him out. And then the only time that I caught something that was like, okay, that kind of worked, was she called Bruce because she was like, I got to make sure it's okay with Bruce that I take Abomination on as a client. And when when she called him, he did make this comment. He was just like, this is it here. He goes, yeah, go ahead, go ahead and do it. But again, the first part of the phone call was trying to be funny, where she just was talking. He was like, yeah, you can't, like, he was trying to like stop her. He's
Hmm.
like, you can do it. And she just was like, da, 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 da. She wouldn't stop. And finally he got a word in, and he's like, yeah, man, that fight was so many years ago. I'm a completely different person now. Literally.
Yeah.
That was, I laughed at that. All right, I'm gonna say that gave me a chuckle because I get they were Ed Norton now as a different actor, so it's like I'm a different person. Ha ha. That's pretty much where it was. But then Hulk just takes off. He's in a spaceship. He's heading back to where we saw him in Thor Ragnarok. He was in the spaceship because if you remember at the end of that movie, the Grand Master, who was like, go back and get my champion. They finally found him. And so he's in there. He's got to go take care of business, which could possibly lead us. And this is why this is trending right now, to the world of Hulk. All right. The world of Hulk, which is
World
a,
War Hulk.
yeah. What did I say?
World of Hulk.
World of Hulk. World War Hulk. Man, I can't talk. World War Hulk comic series. That's an interesting series. If people don't know anything about it, that's where Hulk becomes he goes back to that planet from Thor Ragnarok. I think it's called Sakaar, and then from there he builds a rebellion, and they defeat, so he doesn't have to be, like a puppet to them anymore. And he gets married, he's got a kid, and all this
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And I'm going really quick, and then something happens to like his family, and they all die, and he goes back to Earth, and he's like not the same Hulk that we know. He's back to doesn't talk, just brutally, angry Hulk, and he fights the Avengers. So that could potentially be a story that they could be leading towards. I'm not saying it's going to be good or anything, but it seems like they're hinting that. Um, there's that.
Yeah.
There's
Going back to the phone call. He's a different person literally, but I like that she's already decided, and Bruce even tells her this, like, it sounds like you already decided that you're going to take on this case and you're just letting me know. And she's like, yeah, pretty much. So she's already let him know, and she's kind of calling him to let him know, and he pretty much has to be okay with it.
Yeah, exactly. She's like, it doesn't matter. So
it doesn't matter.
She takes the case, and this is the end of the episode right here. I literally have all 4 pictures lined up. So she calls her boss. She goes, so this means you're taking the Blonsky case, Abomination.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, absolutely. Everything's been resolved. I talked to Bruce. Everything's good. Then he's like, turn on the television. She turns on the TV, and this is what you see. Abomination Prison Break, which I believe is a call to Shang-Chi.
It is, yeah.
So apparently this is happening right in the middle of Shang-Chi. Like timeline-wise. Maybe. Do we know? I have no idea. That's what
I didn't
rumors.
watch Shang-Chi.
I didn't either. Like, that's what I'm saying. So, and then she looks at the camera and goes, oh, that sucks. And that's it, folks. That's the end. That's the end of the show. Then the post-credit scenes, which everyone is just so curious to know about what happens in the post-credit scenes after they do like 10 minutes of like credits. You get to the end credit scene, and this is it. She's holding up a car for her dad while they're changing a tire. That's it. That's the end credit scene.
Mm-hmm.
Not she's like Marvel in the past.
The actor, or she's doing the chores that her dad needed her to do.
Yeah, she's carrying like tons of water jugs into the house, stuff like that. Not like Marvel of old, when the end credit scenes,
actually meant something.
You stayed around and it progressed. Nope. The last end credit scene was Captain America is not a virgin, and this one is she's holding up a car for her dad.
It's ridiculous.
That's it, folks.
It's ridiculous. It's terrible. It was a terrible. I like your description of like it felt like a teaser trailer, because that's exactly what it was. It was just like, we're gonna tease Abomination in this episode, but don't worry, you're gonna get him in the next episode.
Yeah.
That's exactly what this felt like. It was just like a teaser to Abomination. Even though we saw him, we're gonna really see Abomination in the next one. So it's ridiculous, and I think that's how it's probably going to be from this point forward. It's going to be like a teaser to the next guest appearance of whoever's going to be on She-Hulk, because that's what this felt like. It was like a teaser to the Abomination episode, right? And then next week it'll be, I don't know, maybe the end credits will be like a teaser to the next person who's going to guest star on She-Hulk. But this the Abomination storyline, like when she was talking to him, that sounded like really interesting, because what he was saying is true. You know, like what he was saying is true. Like I thought I was going to be Captain America, and instead I'm locked up in this prison. But Hulk, Bruce Banner, he went off and he like wrecked a bunch of cities. He like wrecked Harlem. He did him and
they did Chicago, like they did all that stuff. Yeah,
he wrecked so many cities, but yet he's still like hailed as a superhero, as an Avenger. And he pretty much did the same thing I am, but I'm in this cell. Why am I here? And he's out there. He gets to be super. That could have been interesting with this character, especially since he has ties to both of them, right? To Bruce, and now because she's family to Jen. So that could have been really interesting, like moving forward, to be like this this storyline going forward about how Abomination's going to, like, he tricked her. He basically
Totally
told her like,
agree.
"Oh yeah, I'm totally different. I'm so different. I have a relationship with 7 people." um and I just want to go somewhere and be free. He tricked her. He's not changed. She's a villain, and that could have like lasted a little bit, right? Until she believes him, she gets him out of prison maybe. And then he like wreaks havoc, and she has to like team up with Bruce to bring Abomination back, and like this is why they're different, right? This is why Bruce is out here and he's a hero, and Abomination is in prison because he's not really changed. He just
Well,
wants a
I
piece of
think they're gonna set
steel.
up the
So like,
Thunderbolts. Yeah, the
yeah, but I'm
Thunderbolts
just saying, like,
series. But no, I totally with you. I'm with you on
yeah,
that.
in
I,
this, it could have been a good, like, that could have been really good moving forward, but that's not what it's going to be. It's going to be a one-off episode, probably.
it's. I thought the same thing. I thought it would be Abomination. They'll shift them into the Thunderbolts. If you don't know what the Thunderbolts is, it's villains that kind of turn
Yeah,
good,
it's
that
like
want to
Suicide
like,
Squad.
yeah. The DC version of that is we had two
Suicide
film.
Squad.
Yeah. So, and then basically you got Jen, and then you have Daredevil. You know, you have them as the opposite attorneys for Abomination. I think that would have been a kind of a really cool drama, but it's not what we're getting. We're getting a comedy, and who knows
And not a good one.
what's gonna happen after that. But I agree with you completely. It's gonna be something. I don't even know how many episodes there is, but 17 minutes. I think 17 to 19 minutes an episode really tells me it's like this is like you said. It's just a filler. I bet you, Steph, could take the whole episode if you downloaded it and cut it up into 30 seconds, and we would have got the same information
Oh, yeah.
of what happened in here. It's just kind of like, well, we need one more episode to sell this thing, so let's just cut up. It's like it's almost like they cut a part off another show and just stuck it here to
Mm-hmm.
just progress because it just happened so fast. When it was over, I was like, what the heck? It's like we just turned it on.
Even from the very beginning, from like the previously on She-Hulk part, that was like 5 minutes long. It was
Yeah.
like it's not supposed to be that long. Usually those things are like maybe 15 seconds. 15 seconds of information of what you missed, and that's it. But it was so long. It's like, holy shit, let me speed through this because I'm not watching that again. I just finished watching that episode.
And there you have it. She-Hulk episode 2 with My Nerdy Home. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Maybe we missed something. Let us know. Fill us in.
Yeah.
We'll go from there. This is Jay. That's Steph. All her information is in the description. Her Twitch, her YouTube channel. Go check her out, please. And we'll catch you for episode 3.
Yay.
Next Thursday. We will talk to you next time.